Hello dear students, I welcome you all to the first week of this course on understanding the Arctic climate and the need for environmental protection. In this week, we will have three modules, and the first module is about a general understanding of the Arctic in terms of its geographic region, the people, Arctic Circle, and India and the Arctic. And in module 2, we will discuss about the Arctic cryosphere, the permafrost, Arctic snow, and the melting and other climatic issues happening in connection with this Arctic. And in the third module, we will discuss about the human development in the Arctic, Arctic economy, and also the mineral resources in the Arctic. Now, let's start the first module, understanding the Arctic. So, I have already told you we are discussing about the general understanding, Arctic as a geographic region, the people, Arctic Circle, and the history of cooperation between our country and the Arctic. So, coming to the introduction, so Arctic is a vast and remote geographic region situated at the northernmost part of the earth, and it is characterized by extreme climatic conditions and unique environmental features. And this expansive region is bound by the Arctic Circle. And if you look into the image on the right hand side, you can see the Arctic Ocean, the Arctic Circle, that is the outer circle, and the countries which are coming as part of this Arctic Circle. So you can see Russia, then Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Greenland, then Canada, Alaska, and Norway, which are coming as part of Arctic Circle. Now we can come to the definition of Arctic. See, this Arctic has got different types of definition. First, we will discuss about the definition of Arctic in terms of high Arctic, low Arctic, and subarctic. See, the Arctic landmass is divided into three zones: the high Arctic, the low Arctic, and the subarctic. So, the climate and the vegetation that determines the division and this demarcation of the three Arctic landmass zones. So, the subarctic, that is the area south of the Arctic, is a transitional zone between the tree line and the zone with contiguous boreal. So, that is the northern forest. So, these regions you can clearly see in the image which is given in the previous slide. Now, the tree line, which is the limit for where trees at least 2 to 3 meters tall can grow, serve as the boundary between the subarctic and the low Arctic. And there are local variations, but the tree line usually it coincides with the 10 degrees Celsius isotherm for average July temperatures, because trees have a hard time growing and seeding if the average temperature for the warmest month, that is July, falls below 10 degrees Celsius. And the temperature record of 1960 to 1990 will determine the current 10 degrees Celsius isotherm for this particular definition of tree line. There is no fixed temperature boundary between the high Arctic and the low Arctic, and the boundary is basically determined by the type of vegetation. And in the low Arctic, wood-like vegetation such as shrubs, willows, and the heather can grow. And in the high Arctic, the climate is too harsh, and what you can see is that only flower plants, then grass-like plants, moss and lichen will grow in this particular area. So, the vegetation cover of this high Arctic is often found to be non-contiguous. Now, coming to the definition of maritime Arctic, see, the marine boundaries for the Arctic are literally fluid, and it can be divided into three main groups. The first one, permanent ice, the seasonal ice, where the ice has been, and the third one is the marginal ice zone, that is drift ice, including the ice edges, will come in this particular group. Permanent ice is found in the areas in the Arctic Ocean that do not melt away during the summer, and this area is still covered by ice when the ice cover reaches its minimum level in the September. Now, the seasonal ice zone is the open expanse of sea that was covered by ice during the ice's maximum extension in May, but that has melted away during the summer. So, what happens is that as a result, this seasonal ice zone waters are found to be oligotrophic in nature, and they offer very little to sustain life in that particular area. Now, the melt water from the ice will stratify the surface water, and what happens is that it will block the circulation. So, limited nutrient supply will happen from the ocean floor to the surface. Now, coming to ice edge, the ice edge is the region where the ice cover meets the open sea, and this is found to be a region of high productivity when nutrient rich water is exposed to sunlight after the ice melts or it will break up. So, this is the definition in terms of maritime Arctic. Now, we come to the third definition, that is the political Arctic. See, the Arctic Council is the premier forum for international cooperation on Arctic issues, which was formally established in 1996 in Ottawa to promote sustainable development within the environment, the social conditions, and the economy of the Arctic. The Arctic Council consists of 8 states with land areas north of the Arctic Circle, that is Norway, Sweden, Denmark, then Iceland, Finland, Russia, United States, and Canada. And 6 international organizations representing the indigenous communities have been recognized as the permanent participants in the Arctic Council. Also, we have several non-Arctic countries as observers, international organization and NGOs. Our country, India, is also holding the status of an observer in the Arctic Council. Another potential political definition of the Arctic is based on the Arctic Ocean. So, the so-called Arctic 5 consists of the coastal states around the Arctic Ocean, which includes Norway, Denmark, Russia, the United States, and Canada. The Arctic 5 possess economic zones and continental shelves towards the Arctic Ocean in line with the laws of the sea, and it is not institutionalized, and the cooperation has been confirmed through the Lulissat Declaration of the year 2008. So, we have discussed about different definitions of the Arctic, that is in terms of this high Arctic, subarctic, then the maritime definition and also the political Arctic definition.